So Texlaxing, good. Relaxing, bad. Very bad. That's it. I got it. What's up, everybody? Alexis Kimberly here. Welcome back to my channel. For the best hair, makeup, and beauty advice, definitely subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to be alerted every time I upload every Sunday. So if you're thinking about chemically processing your hair, I'm sure you've gone back and forth in your mind on exactly how you want to do it. It is permanent, so it's a pretty big deal. Well, ask yourself, have you weighed the pros and cons between Texlaxing and relaxing? By the end of this video, you're going to have a full list of the pros and cons of both Texlaxed hair and relaxed hair. This list is not exhaustive, but they're the pros and the cons that I believe are the most important to consider when deciding whether you're going to Texlax or relax. So, if you're ready, grab a pen and paper and let's get started. Okay, so first, what is Texlaxing? What is relaxing? Like I've mentioned in my previous videos, Texlaxing and relaxing is the same chemical process. It's the same chemical, sodium hydroxide, that's used to break the protein bonds in your hair to create a more elongated curl pattern, a looser curl pattern. Texlaxing, however, you are purposely under processing the hair so that you retain more texture than you would with a relaxer. So let's jump right into the pros and cons of Texlaxing. So the first pro to Texlaxed hair is the fact that the hair tends to be less prone to breakage. And the reason for that is because the relaxer is left on the hair for a shorter period of time, and so it has less of an opportunity to break down protein bonds. And because of that, the hair does tend to be stronger. In my experience with both relaxed and Texlaxed hair, my hair is much stronger now that I'm Texlaxed rather than relaxed. The second pro is that Texlaxed hair tends to be fuller and more voluminous than relaxed hair. Relaxed hair has a tendency to be limp, thin, you'll see a lot of breakage. With Texlaxed hair, you retain texture. So with that texture, you have more fullness, more volume. And so if that's something that's important to you, you should consider Texlaxing over relaxing because you're going to retain much more texture with Texlaxing. The third pro to Texlaxing is the fact that it's more versatile. You have more styling options with Texlaxed hair. With Texlaxed hair, you kind of have the best of both worlds between relaxed and natural. You can achieve natural hairstyles with Texlaxed hair, and those styles will hold better with Texlaxed hair because you have more texture in your hair. So braid outs, twist outs, those kinds of styles, those heatless styles are gonna do better with Texlaxed hair. On the flip side, it's easier to achieve straighter styles than being natural. When you're natural, it's much more difficult to take, say, a 4C texture to straight. So it just kind of affords you more like flexibility. The fourth pro to Texlaxed hair is the fact that you can stretch your relaxers for longer periods of time. And the reason for that is because the texture difference between your new growth and your Texlaxed hair is a lot less. So that kind of didn't really sound right, but there's less of a distinction between the textures, so it's not as difficult as it is when you're relaxed to manage both textures at the same time. So it's easier to kind of stretch your relaxers for longer periods of time. The first con with Texlaxed hair is that it's more difficult to get a consistent texture throughout your hair. Unless you're very calculated in your relaxing process, there's really no way to definitively know if you're going to get the same texture every service. So for me, I try to be as particular about this as possible. I know my length of time that I keep my relaxer on, and I stick to that time every service so that I know, okay, my hair is this texture when I leave the relaxer on for this number of minutes, and I don't waver from that so that I get consistent texture every time. Ooh. Another con with Texlaxed hair is the humidity and how your hair reacts to it. Oh my gosh, I never really had any issues when I was relaxed with humidity and my hair puffing up or anything. Now that I'm Texlaxed Any ounce of water in the air makes my hair poof, like it just loses. If I straightened it, it's a mess. Like I react really poorly to any sort of humidity. So that's one downside to Texlaxing. And when I was natural also, I experienced that. Whenever I would do braid outs and things like that, I would my styles would always just become just one big puff every time I would go out into any sort of humid weather. So I don't know, I guess because it's more subject to reversion, to reverting back to its natural state, that's something that I'm experiencing with Texlaxed hair. A third con with Texlaxed hair is that you have to say goodbye to roller sets. And that was kind of like one of the biggest disappointments that I experienced. And I didn't realize before I decided to go this Texlaxing route, I would have to deal with, because I was always roller setting my hair when I was relaxed. I prefer roller setting over blow drying and flat ironing my hair generally. It's a healthier option. So when my hair is wet, it is not at all straight. Like it's still very kinky. It makes it very difficult when you're trying to do a roller set because you can't get the hair flat onto the roller. So that sucks, and that's definitely a big drawback with Texlaxed hair. And the last con I would say with Texlaxed hair is the shrinkage. You do still experience a lot of shrinkage with Texlaxed hair, although it's not going to be to the same extent as if you're natural. If you are Texlaxed, that means that you still have texture in your hair, so when your hair is wet, it will shrink back up. And to that end, it makes it more difficult to detangle Texlaxed hair than relaxed hair because you're retaining so much texture. You have to be very patient with your hair and making sure that you are detangling from end to root. Yeah. And from your ends to your root very carefully and slowly. Now again, guys, this is not an exhaustive list, but these are the things that I have found to be the most important pros and cons for you guys to know. And they're all things that I wish I knew before I decided to Texlax. Why don't you guys leave comments down below though? For those of you who are Texlaxed, what pros have you experienced Texlaxing? Are they the same as mine? And if you've experienced cons, what are they? Leave them in the comments down below. Now, switching over to relaxed hair, the pros to relaxed hair. First, it's easier to get a consistent texture throughout because the goal, like I said earlier with relaxed hair, is to get the hair straight. It's very easy to see from a stylist point of view when hair is straight. It's not so easy to compare a texture from a previous relaxer to the texture that you're getting with this current relaxer and making sure they're the same. Oh, and it's also a lot easier with relaxed hair to see your line of demarcation, meaning the point where your new growth and your relaxed hair meet. At that point, it becomes very, very clear when you're relaxed when you're relaxed, because your new growth is going to be real kinky and then your relaxed hair is going to be straight. Whereas with Texlaxed hair, you've got texture at the root with your new growth, but you still got texture in your already processed hair. So that's a benefit for relaxed hair because your stylist or yourself, if you're doing your relaxer yourself, it becomes much more clear where you need to relax and where to stop the relaxer when you're doing a touch-up, because the textures are just so different. The second pro with relaxed hair is easier heat styling. I mean, roller sets are going to be bomb. Your blowouts are going to be bomb. So you're just going to have like really smooth, silky results. And I've been natural, I've been relaxed, I've been Texlaxed. I love me a sleek, straight look. Like, it looks so good, it's so shiny. And so you're going to get that with relaxed hair. Not that you can't get really silky results with Texlaxed hair, but it's harder to maintain that like level of straightness when you still got that texture in your hair. The third pro is that you are less subject to reversion, meaning your hair is not going to revert back to the texture it formerly was. I know from my experience with Texlaxed hair, even after I get a relaxer, and my hair is straight, after I wash it or if I work out and I sweat, like my hair texture will revert slightly back to a more kinkier, a more kinky texture. And when you're relaxed, you don't really have that as much because your hair is straighter. So yeah, I don't know. I hope that makes sense. And the fourth pro with relaxed hair is obviously that it's much easier to detangle. Your hair is straighter. If it's not bone straight, then it's pretty damn straight. So detangling it is going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now to the cons of relaxed hair. The first con is the fact that it's more subject to breakage. Like I mentioned earlier, because the relaxer is on your hair for a longer period of time with a traditional relaxer, more protein bonds are being broken in that process, and so your hair inherently is going to be weaker than if you were Texlaxed. The second con to relaxed hair is that it demands more maintenance and visits to the salon. It requires you to go and get your relaxer touched up more frequently because the textures are so different. It becomes very difficult to manage a 4C texture at your root and straight ends. Number 3 con is that relaxed hair just tends to be more brittle and dry because it's been processed more than Texlaxed hair. I've experienced more dryness with relaxed hair. When I was relaxed, my ends were terrible. I would get trims regularly, but it didn't seem to matter how many trims I got, my ends just always snapped. And I attribute that to the fact that, because, in a lot of ways, I was over processing my relaxed hair. I was going to the salon too frequently. I was going there like every 4 weeks or every 6 weeks, something like that. So I was processing my hair too much. My hair became super dry, and my hair broke off significantly because of it. The fourth con with it's been a day. With relaxed hair is that it doesn't hold braid outs as well. It tends to be more limp and thinner than Texlaxed hair. And when you have that texture with Texlaxed hair and you do like a nice braid out, it really does resemble that of natural hair. With relaxed hair, because it's so straight, it's harder for the hair it doesn't have the same hold. So now you know the main differences between Texlaxed hair and relaxed hair, the pros and the cons. If you were paying attention though, you would notice that there's pretty much the same number of pros as there are cons. And so what it really boils down to is how much you value each pro and how much you're willing to tolerate each con. So for me, for instance, I really value having full hair. I just love volume. I always have from when I was a little girl. So I'm willing to tolerate other things in order to get the volume. So it really is a personal assessment and a choice that you have to make based off of the things that mean the most to you. If you like this video, definitely give me a thumbs up so that I know that you guys like this content. Leave me a comment down below if you have any other pros or cons that you want to add into this list that I provided for you guys. Definitely subscribe. I have more content coming out for you guys. Hit that notification bell so you get alerted for all of my uploads every Sunday. And until next time, I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.